I don't even know how to start this video. Where to begin? Hey everybody, CR Media Gal here. Welcome back to my channel. It's been, I think, at least a year since I did any sort of a chatty sit down video with you guys and kind of updated you on what's going on in my life. If you haven't noticed, the last several videos in a row get like zero traction whatsoever. So I have no clue who's even gonna bother to watch this. But I figured it was time that I sat down with you and talked about a few things that I've alluded to in a few of my past videos. Particularly, what is going on with my bangs? Oh, they look terrible. Anyway, particularly with what's been going on with my health. I finally feel like I'm in a good enough place that I feel comfortable talking about it. I know I don't share a lot of my personal life on here, but I feel like my day-to-day is not interesting enough. There are things I do want to keep private. But I finally feel like I'm in a secure enough spot that I can comfortably talk about what's been going on. I am planning to post this over on my website, crmediagal.com, for any of my readers who might actually still be out there and wondering when they're going to get updates on any of my stories. For those of you who might not know, I am not only a YouTuber and fashion content creator, I'm also a writer. I've been a fanfic writer for a decade now, and I post all of my stories over on that website. Obviously, I haven't been writing too much or posting too much content over there, so I'm going to be cross-posting this to there too for any of my readers over there who might be curious to know what's been going on. Just to tick off all my boxes here. Yeah, if you've got a coffee or some tea, or you want to pause this video and go get yourself a beverage of some kind, go ahead and let's jump right in. So, gosh, I'm trying to think of how even to begin this video. Yeah, my YouTube schedule, or
lack thereof,
has been pretty sporadic for several months. I'd say since like pretty much November of last year when my dog Ace died. If you're new around here and this is the first video you're clicking on, I lost my senior German Shepherd Ace back in November of 2021. And that hit me really, really hard. I'm still struggling with it, not gonna lie. Pet grief is real and just as legitimate as losing a human. Pets are families. So I definitely lost some creativity and motivation after losing him, but then rolling right into December, I had a major health scare. Again, I've kind of alluded to that in some of my past videos. I should have forewarned you that this is a lengthy story. I am a type 1 diabetic. I've mentioned that here and there. I've been a type 1 for 30 years, and unfortunately, this disease is progressive and it's a vascular disease. So it affects every part of your body, every organ, your joints, your circulation, your eyes, your heart. It affects everything. It tends to be after the 20-year mark that diabetics can start to have some breakdowns in their body. Like, that's unfortunately very common. Of course, you know, I do my best to try to control something that's at the end of the day very uncontrollable and fights me every bit of the way. I'm on an insulin pump. I've been on an insulin pump of some kind since they first came out like 20 years ago. I exercise. I try to take care of myself. Sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes it's relatively easy. In mid-December, I had my annual eye exam. And this go around, my eye doctor, who I've actually been seeing since I was a kid, he's always told me that my eyes seem to be in good health. But sometimes he would tell me in the past, like, oh, I see, you know, some hemorrhaging out here in the back of your eye, which he wasn't concerned about. But this time around, he spotted something serious. He told me, look, I'm afraid that your right eye is going to hemorrhage, and it's not in the back of your eye anymore. And I want you to start seeing a retinal specialist. It's gonna really affect your vision if you don't get it treated. It's something that he and I have talked about at past annual appointments the last couple of years, but he kind of like played it down at the time. And I don't know if he did that on purpose to keep me calm, but I did make an appointment with a specialist before I left. And sure enough, a week later, I had a hemorrhage in my right eye. At the time, I didn't realize that that was what it was.
I swear I'm not that stupid.
To back up, the last like 2 years or so, I've actually but turns out I think I have had some like mini hemorrhaging in my eyes before. I used to get what like I would describe to my eye doctor as like little, it almost looked like dust particles in my eye that just I couldn't wipe away. But within a couple hours, they would disappear. But I always attributed it to the fact that at my full-time job, I'm on a computer all day long, sometimes like 12 to 14 hours at a time. Plus I do editing videos on the side and I write. So like I'm on a computer constantly. And the other component to this was I also kind of wondered if it was my prescription. The last couple of years, my eyesight has actually improved. I've had the same like pretty hefty prescription. I thought, well, maybe my eyes are just like overstimulated and tired, and plus my prescription is a little too high. So maybe that's why I'm having this issue. So a week later, it happens. I don't know if I was just in a state of denial, because going blind as a diabetic has been my biggest, going blind as a diabetic has been my biggest fear since I was first diagnosed when I was 7 years old. Even more than having a heart attack or having a stroke or my leg amputated. It's my greatest fear of the countless things that can go wrong as a diabetic. And it happened like mid-morning, randomly. It wasn't like I was on the computer, but I had what I had described to my eye doctor before as these weird little particles showing up in my eye. And I thought, okay, it's happening again. So I went over to my sister's house for a bit. And by the time I came back in the afternoon, that's when I started to really take it seriously. I remember trying to look just out of my right eye and I couldn't see anything. It wasn't black, which is, I mean, that's considerably worse as a diabetic. If like your eyesight suddenly goes black, that's a really bad sign. But the only way I can describe it as it was like looking through frosted glass. I could see shapes, I could see colors, but I couldn't see anything distinctively. Whether it was the TV feet away from me or if my hands were like this close to my eye, I couldn't make out anything. And that's when I got a little scared. I thought, okay, this isn't going away like it has in the past. This can't be the same thing. This happened on a Friday. So then Saturday rolls around, still can't see. And at this point, I'm scared. I started calling the retinal specialist places around me, knowing full well, it's the weekend. I thought there's no way in hell. Nobody's going to be open. And nobody was. This was at like 11:30 on Saturday. I thought, I'm just going to call my eye doctor. I know they're not open on the weekends, but I'm just going to give it a shot. I feel like it was divine intervention because this was the one Saturday that they were open that month. So I went in, he did some imaging, and sure enough, he told me, he's like, this was what I was afraid was going to happen to you. And they actually showed me the 3D scans that they took of my eye. My eye was completely cloudy and it was just filled with blood. So I'd had a hemorrhage. I mean, he couldn't really give me a distinct, like, you're going to be okay, which is what really scared me even more. Try to be hopeful. Like, I'm going to get you into this specialist that he really wanted me to see initially. So I go in on Monday as an emergency case to see this retinal specialist who actually comes really highly recommended in my area. And in hindsight, I'm so grateful to him. I go in thinking I'm going to have the right eye looked at and hopefully treated. Got all this imaging done. They even put dye in me at one point and took some more imaging of both of my eyes. And when I finally see the specialist, he looked at me and he said, "Your eyes are a mess." He said, "I have to be honest with you, your left eye is about to hemorrhage as well." And I think I just started crying because I thought, what? And I think he's pretty used to that happening with patients, as long as he sees diabetics for eye disease all day long. He said, "I know this is not what you were expecting to hear. I know you were probably just expecting to have the right eye treated, but the left eye looks really bad as well." Sorry. I was not expecting to cry through this. This is ridiculous. Okay. He did keep saying to me, like, "You're going to be okay. I'm going to save your eyes. You're going to be okay." But unfortunately, he told me, he said, after the 20-year mark is when we start to see a lot of what was happening in my eyes. I guess what happens and why this happens to type 1 diabetics over time is diabetics end up having extra blood vessels growing around the retina they tend to be weak and leaky, and that's what causes the hemorrhaging. And that's basically, after 30 years, what had happened to me. If it gets really bad, I believe it's your macula can detach from the retina. And that's like what happens when diabetics like suddenly like their eyesight goes black. So mine wasn't that bad. He did say to me if I hadn't started treatment when I did, I would be looking at maybe 5 more years of eyesight. And then I'd be blind. That was life-changing. I was not expecting to hear, after years of going to the eye doctor and being told that my eyes looked pretty healthy, to suddenly be told, yeah, you're gonna go blind in 5 years if you don't start treatment now. That was probably, aside from losing Ace, like the lowest point I've been at. You know, where I'm gonna treat both of your eyes today, Sid, but I can't promise you that the medicine's gonna work in time for your left eye. Even though I started treatment that day, my eyesight was in limbo. So from mid-December to mid-January, I was living in constant fear that this eye was gonna hemorrhage. And if this eye had hemorrhaged, I don't know what I would have done. I wouldn't have been able to do like basic everyday things because I wouldn't have been able to see. I certainly wouldn't have been able to drive. I would not be able to work because I wouldn't be able to look at a computer. Like there's no point, like I can't see anything. Wouldn't be able to watch TV even, or I guess I could listen to the TV, but I wouldn't be able to watch it and see what was going on. So many basic things. I don't know how I would have coped. I wouldn't have been able to help myself. And I know that sounds really ridiculous because blind people are capable of being very independent and living like very fulfilling lives. I just, you know, as somebody who's seen all of her life, suddenly go blind and not be able to see, I didn't know the first thing about what I might do in that situation. It was terrifying. So for that entire month, I don't think I've prayed any more in my life than I did, because I didn't know what else to do. The good news is I never had a hemorrhage in this left eye. Thank God. I started on eye injections, and I've been getting eye injections monthly. They sound worse than they actually are, but that being said, they're very unpleasant to go through. The injections are meant to help shrink the blood vessels, and then the next step beyond injections is laser. And it's not, you know, laser to give you 20/20 vision. It's laser to further shrink the blood vessels and basically bring your eyesight back to what it was. So I ended up having laser in this eye in February. And then I had laser this month. As of the day I'm filming this, it's towards the end of March. I just recently had laser in this eye. I'll go back next month, probably get another round of injections, and then after that he's going to see how I've done with my treatment and kind of play it by ear. So the good news is I seem to be responding well to treatment. My retinal specialist, he remains very hopeful about me. He keeps telling me that I'm gonna be fine. Having gone through this though, I have to say I'm still in the thick of it. I really am. Like, I'm not kidding myself. I'm still getting monthly injections for the foreseeable future. That being said, I'm very, very grateful to my retinal specialist, and, you know, not to be preachy, not to bring religion into this, but I sort of have to. You don't have to believe in it, and you don't even have to think that this is what happened for me, but this is how I've internalized my experience, and this was my personal experience. My retinal specialist even said that to me multiple times. I firmly believe it was divine intervention that I got my eyes saved just in time. You know, the only thing that I think about now in hindsight, I should have been a better advocate for myself. I think I was just always, because it's such a big fear of mine going blind, every year that I would go and see my eye doctor and he would give me a good bill of health, I would just breathe a sigh of relief, like, oh, okay, everything's fine, and quickly move on. Really, I would say after the 20-year mark, I should have probably even said to him, like, hey, you know, I think I should start seeing a specialist to have my eyes, like, kept a close eye on.
Pun intended.
You know, because at the end of the day, your annual eye doctor that you go to see is not an eye specialist. They do not treat eye disease. I'm grateful that he caught that. My eyesight has been getting much better in this right eye. Every now and then I can still see some of the pooled blood from my hemorrhaging. I can still kind of see that a little bit in this eye when I look around. Otherwise, I can see very well. So I'm so grateful that things are looking up. The first few months though, was really tough for me to like sit and read boxes of text. So that's why I haven't been able to do any writing on any of my stories over at my website, because this eye was compensating so much for this eye not being able to see, get like overly tired from it. So only been very recently that I feel comfortable enough to start writing again, which I'm really excited about. For any of my readers out there, I do intend to see my stories through. I've got a lot of ideas that I want to crank out, but I haven't really been able to. So I am definitely looking forward to that and planning to do that. So feel free to hold me to it because I am planning to get back to it now. Unfortunately, it's taken months to get here though. But yeah, health-wise, that's not the only thing that's been going on. I had a recent scare with my kidneys, which is another issue that type 1 diabetics can have. My retinal specialist even forewarned me the first time I saw him. He said, look, because I see this all the time, he said, usually something else is going on too. And he even specifically told me, have your kidneys checked the next time you have your blood work done. And I knew in the next month I was going to be getting my blood work done because I was going to be seeing my diabetic doctor. There's like several different blood works for your kidneys. One of the ones, I'll pop it up on screen because I don't know how to pronounce it, but the one that kind of combines them all got flagged as high. Are my kidneys just working a little too hard now because I've had this disease again for 30 years? Am I in kidney failure? I was actually pretty convinced when I went to see my diabetic doctor that, oh my God, she's going to tell me that like I'm going to have to start seeing a kidney specialist now. Thankfully, as it turns out, she told me like, I don't know why that came back high for you. You don't have any protein in your urine, which is the first sign of kidney problems for a type 1 diabetic. She ended up giving me a clear bill of health. At that point, because I was still really in the thick of it with my eyes, I thought, oh my God, there's something's going wrong with my kidneys too. Like I'm just done. I don't want to live like this, you know? Not to sound pessimistic, really. I try to be realistic day to day as a diabetic because, you know, even though I take medicine for my type 1 diabetes, things go wrong. The everyday wear and tear that diabetes does on the body, people who don't have diabetes don't understand that. You just see that you take insulin or you're on a pump or you're on a sensor or you do daily injections and they think, oh yeah, you've got medicine, you're fine. And you look fine. And well, yeah, on the outside I look fine. But internally, things are working so much harder for me than they are for the average person. And at some point, I'm gonna run into some problems. On top of all of this, I have frozen shoulder, which is also related to my diabetes. People might not know this if you're not a type 1 diabetic, but we're at much higher risk of joint issues and inflammation. My oldest sister, who is a physical therapist, was even telling me there's been research done and there is a definite correlation between frozen shoulder in type 1 diabetics, specifically women.
Go figure, I am poster child for that.
Frozen shoulder issues started randomly, I think back in September. It wasn't caused by any sort of an accident or anything. It tends to just come on gradually and all of a sudden you like really start to realize. And so initially my plan was beginning of the year, I'm just going to suck it up and I'm going to go to PT and I'm going to get this treated because it was getting to a point where it really was affecting my everyday life. Even now, like I still struggle to put my hair back. It's been hard to put bras on. It's been hard to put just everyday clothes on. It's hard to pull up pants. It's a real struggle. But then, you know, when I had all this stuff happen with my eyes, that like kind of took a backseat. But it got to a point where I was in so much pain and could barely raise this arm anymore that I realized like, okay, I got to deal with this or I'm looking at surgery. So I started PT in January. Like I mentioned earlier, we're now into the end of March and I only have 10 more sessions of PT that my insurance will pay for. So I've met with an orthopedic surgeon and I am seeing him in a week and he's going to decide at that point whether or not I'm looking at surgery. Without surgery, frozen shoulder can take anywhere from 2 to 5 years to recover from. I don't want to go through this for 2 years. But then again, even though the progress has been slow, I've been making progress in PT. So I don't know, I'm kind of hoping that I'll be able to just continue physical therapy, though I'm not sure how I'm going to pay for it since my insurance is being a good old about it. Insurance, I don't understand it. I'll find out next week what's going on there. If anything, I might just opt to put surgery off for a bit. So there's one more issue that I'm dealing with. As a result, between paying to be in PT twice a week, my monthly eye injections, my recent laser, all of which has not been cheap, I've taken on a second job. So to finally move away from all the health jabber, I've got a second job now. I have a full-time job, but now I have a second job. I'm only on week 2 of it, but I do like it. I'm exhausted, understandably. Like I'm so low energy by the end of the week. No, I'm just happy to have a second job that I relatively like. I'm actually working at a consignment shop. So I'm working with clothes, which is kind of exciting. It's also a very independent based position, and it's doing a lot of their online sales, taking pictures of their inventory and getting it up on their online shop. Very laid back about, you know, all of my medical appointments and having to work around that. Again, it's very early days, but I do like it. I'm just, you know, I'm just beat. I felt like I had limited free time before. Now it's like, it's for real. It's going to be an adjustment. Please bear with me. For the 3 of you that I'm so grateful that watch my videos, I will get it together. I just need some time, figure out like what days and times are gonna work best for me to film and to edit. And also, I want to get back into writing. So I have to find a balance between my double work life now and trying to do my creative hobbies. One of which I haven't even been able to enjoy or even partake in until very recently. I try to aim for Thursdays or Saturdays in the evenings right now to post my videos, but I know a lot of my subscribers aren't even getting my notifications. For any of you who do try to make an effort to watch my videos, whether you get notifications or not, what days do you tend to catch up on the YouTubers that you're subscribed to? I'm curious to know, because I feel like it doesn't matter if I have a schedule, it doesn't matter what day I post. I'm just really struggling to get any of my videos to even show up in the search engine on YouTube or catch the algorithm. The last like 4 or 5 videos that I've posted haven't even gotten 100 views. That hurts. So like when you put so much effort into taking the time to film and edit and do the best you possibly can, and just, you know, to have your the few subscribers you have not even like getting notifications that you've posted a video, it sucks. I've even watched tutorials on like how you should be properly tagging your videos for YouTube, and I'm doing everything correctly as a creator. I'm just not reaping any of the benefits of it. By all means, let me know like what days you prefer to watch YouTube videos. I would find that information very helpful to me going forward, because I really don't know anymore. It doesn't seem to make any difference when I post. It would be good to know when any of you would be most interested in tuning in. Yeah, I think that was pretty much all I wanted to cover in this life update, if you will. How are you all doing? Let me know down in the comments. Certainly hope that you're all having a better start to 2022 than I have been having. But then, you know, with the state of the world being what it is right now, are we all having a good 2022? Realistically, I think we're all on the struggle bus, aren't we? The subscribers that I have, thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for watching my content. Thank you for any of the likes. That's all encouraging. It's tough to find the motivation, especially on top of working 2 jobs now, to film videos when you kind of know nobody's gonna watch them. Because I like YouTube. It's a fun creative outlet for me. I love creating outfits. I love clothes. Like I've really gotten into body positivity and showing some representation. It's hard to keep the motivation going when you post something that you're proud of and that you're excited to share with people, and then it just repeatedly falls flat. I'm gonna try to keep chugging along. I'm blabbering at this point. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you would, please. I'd really appreciate it. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Be sure to hit that notification bell, even though apparently it doesn't work. Do it anyway. I hope you are all doing well wherever you are, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.